Okay, so I got it all strung up now off the corner of the deck over here, something like that, and just on out around the yard, out to kind of a point in that corner. Is that the right corner? Where am I pointing? I don't know. I can't see because the sun's too bright. Anyway, there's a point, the corner out in the yard, and then we kind of come on around the back of the yard here and on around the side of the house. Now I will tell you, back up to that front corner where I started. I will tell you, this soil, despite being a sandy clay, it's manifested itself just to be a clay. That sucked. I actually had to go get a hammer. I couldn't step or stomp the stakes in. I had to go get just a standard framing hammer to kind of tap them in, get a little bit of that shock. I really didn't want to, bend the stakes off. So anyway, it's up. Now the question is, what is a man without chickens doing with a poultry net? Why do you need a poultry net? Well, this would be, I guess, step one in, our homesteading process, or at least that's my goal, is that we will have chickens again. For those of you that have followed my channel for a few years, you know that I used to have chickens, egg layers, and ultimately just got rid of them. They were getting old, non-productive. My goal with the fence now is dog netting. Okay, it's marketed as poultry netting with the feature that it will keep dogs and other animals out of your chickens. So that says to me, well, then I think it ought to be able to keep dogs in a containment if need be. So I'm strung it up, and I'm going to see if my dogs learn to respect it. My dogs, the two originals, they learned about an electric fence years ago. This one looks a little different, but it only takes about one instance to where they learn to respect it. Now the little pup, the stray blue heeler that showed up out here, he has chewed in half multiple extension cords, live extension cords. At least one popped him and threw the breaker, but he still chewed extension cords. So maybe he'll get tangled up in it and try to fight with it. I don't know. But anyway, the point is, I'm putting it up as a temporary containment so my dogs have some backyard space to get out. And the reason that I strung it up like I did around the house is the dogs can get on the back porch here so they can have protection from the sun. They can get up the exterior stairs up on the deck to come in the door up there, or they can go in the doors here. So it gives them the ability to come in 2 out of 3 of the doors in the house if we want them in, but also gives them outdoor space. The real concern is the 2 labs that are my original dogs. They're not used to having wide open spaces like this. They've always had a fence around their backyard. They've always had those boundaries, and there's that concern that you move out here to the country and they just run off because they get overwhelmed, they get excited, they pick up a scent and they just go, and they can't figure out how to get back home. So the fence is needed, at least for now, till they learn where the boundaries are. But I'm not done with any of the grade work in the backyard. I haven't sodded it. I haven't done any of that. So there's a lot of need still for machines to come into the backyard, equipment, or just to be able to move a fence around. I don't want to put up a permanent wooden plank fence in this yard until I know that where I'm putting it is the permanent location. I don't want to put up a real nice looking fence and have to tear it down in a year because I decide to raise the grade a little bit over here or to build something else over there. So the poultry netting will be our backyard fence for now. It's, I don't know, kind of small. It was a 164-foot roll. I don't know, I fenced in, I don't know what that comes out to, what you can convert it to, 1/10 of an acre? 16th of an acre? I'm not really sure. It's not a huge backyard, especially not for 3 labs. I get it. I will probably get another roll of fencing shortly, but I want to make sure that they respect this one first and that they recognize it as their boundary, and then I can just extend the boundary whenever I want. I've actually thought about too getting just running just a traditional electric fence, three strands or whatever, and I can run that way out a much larger perimeter, a lot easier than this poultry net. And I may do that still too, to let them have a larger backyard without the concerns. But the whole point of the poultry net, son, don't walk on that metal. The whole point of the poultry net is that we will be able to reuse it in the future as the poultry net or as a garden fence or whatever. So that's why, a long way around there, but you see now, that's why I bought the poultry net now to use as the yard fence for the dogs, because it will have future use. Any fencing, if you're good at sparing it, has future use. But something like a picket fence, that's a lot of work to put together. It's a lot of work to take apart just to move it. So this gives us now, again, optionality. We've learned that's critical trying to move from the suburbs to the farm. I grew up on a farm. When the farm is all you have, it's real simple. I'm gonna put this here, and that's where it's gonna go. But we're in this transition state, trying to get from the suburbs to the farm, and we're still trying to figure out, well, do we put a workshop over here? Do we put the barn over there? Do we put a sidewalk over here? All of this stuff is still very much in play. So I want to have that optionality to just move the fence if that's what I want to do. So the poultry net's gonna should lend nicely to that, and it has a more of a future use. I don't really intend to have this property all strung up with aluminum electric fence someday. Maybe I will, depends on how much issue we have with other stray dogs showing up, so like that. May put electric fence around the perimeter of it just for that purpose. But again, we'll see what the future brings. So for now, poultry net for dogs. Hopefully it works.